Hello,
A
I'm Dr.
patient came
Smith.
into my
I've reviewed your
clinic last
results and
week
everything
said
looks
something
stable.
that
Please
completely
follow the
broke my
treatment plan
heart.
and we'll check in
She
soon.
sat down,
The x-rays
looked at
look
her
good. It's
shoes,
just
and
a
said,
sprain.
"John,
Oh, that's a
I
relief.
had to stop
Rest
my
and ice.
morning
You'll be fine.
walks.
Thank you.
Every time I get back home, my lower back aches and my knees are throbbing. I guess my body
The
is just
x-rays look
telling me
good.
I'm
It's just a
too
sprain.
old to
Oh, that's a
walk."
relief.
I hear
Rest and
variations of
ice.
this
You'll be
story
fine.
all the
Thank you.
time, and it is incredibly frustrating. But let me share with you exactly what I told her. You are not too old to walk. Your body isn't failing you. The truth is, walking is the absolute best medicine for your heart, your brain,
Doctor, I've
and your
been having
blood
these
sugar.
headaches.
But the
I
way you are
understand. How long
walking
have they
might
lasted?
actually be
Few days
destroying your
now.
Okay.
joints. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, where East meets West to help you move freely, feel younger, and stay independent. Today, we are talking about the most
Hello, I'm Dr.
popular
Smith. I've reviewed your
exercise in
results
the
and everything
world,
looks stable.
walking.
Please follow the treatment
Doctors
plan and we'll check
prescribe
in
it for
soon.
longevity, for weight loss, and for mental clarity. But what nobody tells you is that after the age of 60, the mechanics of how you walk matter just as much as the fact that you walk at all. So in this episode, Japan's oldest doctor and I are going to uncover 7 common walking mistakes that millions of seniors make every single day. These are the hidden habits that cause knee pain, trigger lower back spasms, and cancel out the health benefits of your daily stroll. But more importantly, we are going to show you how to fix them instantly so walking feels like a joy again and not a chore. Doctor, I know you are incredibly passionate about this topic. Why do we need to talk about these mistakes today?
John, it is because walking is the foundation of an independent life. But when people experience pain after a walk, they don't blame their posture or their shoes. They blame their age. They think, my joints are just worn out. So they stop moving altogether. And that is the most dangerous thing a senior can do. By simply correcting a few small mechanical errors, we can completely remove the pain and keep people on their feet for decades to come.
That is exactly the hope people need to hear. Your body is not broken, it just needs a small adjustment. So before we dive into the 7 mistakes, I want to hear from everyone watching. Go down to the comments right now and tell us, how many minutes do you usually walk each day? Even if it is just 5 minutes to the mailbox or a 30-minute stroll in the park, let us know where you are starting from.
Yes, please share. Because whether you are a seasoned walker or just trying to get started, these 7 fixes will apply directly to you.
Now, doctor, before we reveal the first mistake, I think we need to set the stage. Why does the way we walk suddenly become so much more important after 60? What changes in the body that makes us so sensitive to bad form?
It is a great question. When you are 20 or 30 years old, your body is incredibly forgiving. You can walk in terrible shoes, with terrible posture, and your body absorbs the shock. But after 50, and especially after 60, our physiology changes. We naturally lose a bit of muscle mass. Our tendons and ligaments become slightly less elastic, and the fluid that lubricates our joints takes a little longer to warm up.
So the shock absorbers just aren't as bouncy as they used to be.
Exactly. Walking is essentially a series of controlled falls. Every time your foot strikes the ground, your body absorbs a force equal to 1.5 times your body weight. If your form is good, your muscles absorb that force beautifully. If your form is bad, that force goes directly into your knee joints and your lower back. Over time, that repetitive stress creates inflammation and pain.
That makes perfect sense. So let's get right into it. What is the very first walking mistake that seniors make without realizing it?
Mistake number 1 is starting too fast. I see this constantly. People step out of their front door, look at their watch, and immediately launch into a brisk, fast-paced walk. They want to get their heart rate up right away.
That sounds like what we are supposed to do, right? Get the cardio in?
Yes, but not in the first 60 seconds. The problem is that your muscles, joints, and cardiovascular system need a few minutes to transition from a resting state to an active state. When you suddenly move into a fast pace, your body experiences a physiological shock. Your muscles are still cold and stiff. Your joints have not yet produced enough synovial fluid to lubricate the cartilage.
So it is like revving the engine of a car that has been sitting in the freezing cold all night.
Precisely. You are forcing stiff, dry joints to perform under high stress. Over time, this sudden jolt increases the risk of muscle strains, shin splints, and joint discomfort. It also spikes your heart rate and blood pressure too rapidly, which can leave you feeling breathless and fatigued much sooner than you should.
Okay, so what is the fix here? How should we be starting our walks?
The fix is the 3 to 5 minute rule. When you step outside, I want you to walk at a slow, leisurely pace for the first 3 to 5 minutes. Do not worry about cardio yet, just stroll. This gentle movement acts as a signal to your body. It tells your heart to gradually increase blood flow. It tells your joints to start producing lubricating fluid. It warms up the tissues naturally.
And then after those 5 minutes,
Then you can gradually transition into your normal, brisk walking pace. You will find that your stride feels smoother, your breathing is more controlled, and your knees do not ache the way they used to. A proper warm-up protects the entire system.
that is such a simple fix, but I can see how it changes everything. All right, let's keep the momentum going. What is mistake number 2?
Mistake number 2 is something you can observe at any park in the world. It is the slumped walking posture. I want you to picture someone walking while looking down at the ground just ahead of their feet. Their shoulders are rounded forward, the chest is collapsed, and their head is jutting out in front of the body.
I see this all the time. People look down because they are afraid of tripping over a crack in the sidewalk.
And that fear is understandable, but the physical consequence of that posture is devastating. Your head is heavy. It weighs about 10 to 12 pounds. When your head is balanced directly over your shoulders, it feels weightless, but for every inch your head tilts forward to look at the ground, the strain on the muscles in your neck and upper back doubles.
Wow, so looking down essentially turns a 10-pound head into 30 pounds of pressure on the neck?
Exactly. The muscles in your upper back have to work overtime just to keep your head from falling forward. This is why so many seniors return from a walk complaining of a burning, stiff sensation between their shoulder blades or at the base of their neck.
And I assume a collapsed chest affects breathing too?
It absolutely does. When your shoulders slump forward, your rib cage cannot fully expand. Your diaphragm is compressed. This means your lungs are taking in significantly less oxygen with every breath. Less oxygen means your heart has to work harder and your muscles fatigue much faster.
So poor posture literally steals your energy while you walk. What is the solution here?
The solution is a simple visualization. As you walk, I want you to imagine there is a gentle string attached to the very top of your head, pulling you straight up toward the sky. Let your shoulders relax and drop down away from your ears. And most importantly, lift your gaze. Look about 15 to 20 feet ahead of you, not directly down at your toes.
You can still see the ground in your peripheral vision to avoid tripping, right?
Yes, your peripheral vision is incredibly sharp. By looking 20 feet ahead, you can see obstacles long before you reach them, while keeping your spine beautifully aligned and your chest open for deep, oxygen-rich breaths.
I love that invisible string cue. It instantly fixes the whole body. Okay, let's move on to the gear we use. What is mistake number 3?
Mistake number 3 is using the wrong shoes. This sounds obvious, John, but it is one of the leading causes of knee and hip pain in older adults. Many people continue wearing the same pair of walking shoes for years simply because the outside of the shoe still looks clean and relatively new.
So just because the shoe looks fine on the outside doesn't mean it's actually doing its job?
Exactly. The critical part of a walking shoe is the foam cushioning hidden inside the midsole. This foam is designed to absorb the shock of your foot striking the pavement. But over time, with thousands of steps, that foam compresses. It dies. It loses its bounce.
And when the shoe stops absorbing the shock,
Your body has to absorb it. The impact travels straight up through your heel, directly into your knees, your hips, and eventually your lower back. Walking in dead shoes is like driving a car with broken shock absorbers. Every bump in the road jars the entire frame.
so how do we know if our shoes are the problem and what should we be looking for in a good pair?
If you have been walking in the same shoes for over a year, or for roughly 300 to 400 miles, the internal support is likely gone. It is time for a new pair. When you buy a walking shoe, look for three things. First, adequate cushioning in the heel to absorb impact. Second, strong arch support to keep your ankle from rolling inward. And third, a flexible sole at the ball of the foot so your toes can bend naturally as you push off.
That is a great checklist. Cushion, arch support, and a flexible toe. Now, while we are talking about habits, what is mistake number 4?
Mistake number 4 is what I call the weekend warrior syndrome. This is the mistake of walking too little during the week and then trying to make up for it all at once.
Like someone who sits on the couch Monday through Friday and then goes for a 2-hour hike on Sunday.
Precisely. Many people believe that as long as they get a couple of hours of walking in per week, it doesn't matter how it is distributed. But human physiology does not work that way. The body thrives on consistency, not sporadic exhaustion.
Why is that sudden long walk actually harmful?
Because your muscles, tendons, and cardiovascular system have not been conditioned for it. When you walk only occasionally, the biological signal to your body is very weak. The body doesn't adapt. Then you suddenly subject it to a 2-hour stress test. The joints aren't prepared. The muscles fatigue quickly, which leads to sloppy form. And sloppy form, as we discussed, leads to injury.
So it is much better to spread it out.
Absolutely. A study published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine demonstrated that frequent, moderate walking is vastly superior for cardiovascular health and joint longevity compared to infrequent, intense bouts. Walking 20 to 30 minutes, 5 days a week, sends a constant, healthy signal to your body to stay strong, flexible, and efficient.
Consistency over intensity. I think that applies to almost everything in health. All right, let's keep the pace up. What is mistake number 5?
Mistake number 5 has to do with the upper body. It is the mistake of walking with dead arms. I see many seniors walking briskly with their legs, but their arms are hanging completely limp and stiff at their sides.
I've definitely seen that. Why is it a problem? Isn't walking mostly a leg exercise?
Walking is actually a full-body movement. When your arms swing naturally, they act as a counterbalance to your legs. Notice how, when your left foot steps forward, your right arm naturally wants to swing forward. This cross-body connection stabilizes your torso and prevents your spine from twisting excessively with every step.
So keeping your arms stiff actually puts more rotational stress on the lower back?
Exactly. Not only does it stress the back, but keeping your arms still requires you to expend more energy just to stay balanced. Furthermore, when you swing your arms, you are engaging the muscles of your upper back, chest, and shoulders. You burn more calories, You improve circulation throughout the entire body, and your walking rhythm becomes much smoother.
What is the proper way to use your arms?
You do not need to do an exaggerated, aggressive power walk swing. Just bend your elbows slightly and allow your arms to swing naturally from the shoulder joints. Let them move in a relaxed rhythm that matches your footsteps. It should feel effortless and fluid.
That is a great visual. Now I know the next mistake is something that didn't even exist 20 years ago. Let's talk about mistake number 6.
Mistake number 6 is the modern curse of the phone zombie. It is walking while looking down at your smartphone. Whether you are texting, reading an email, or changing a podcast, holding a phone in front of you while you walk destroys your mechanics.
It brings us right back to the bad posture we talked about earlier.
Worse, because not only is your head tilted down and your neck strained, but your arms are now locked in front of you, meaning you lose the natural arm swing we just discussed. It completely breaks your body's natural walking rhythm.
And it has to be a huge safety hazard, right?
It is a massive fall risk. When your eyes are glued to a tiny screen, your brain is entirely disconnected from your physical environment. You miss uneven pavement, raised tree roots, and curbs. Walking should be a time when your mind and body are fully connected to the space around you.
So the rule here is simple.
Keep the phone in your pocket. If you need to check a message or change a song, step off the path, stop walking. Do what you need to do, put the phone away, and then resume your walk. Protect your posture and protect your safety.
I love that. We have covered 6 mistakes. The warm-up, the posture, the shoes, the consistency, the arms, and the phone. We have 1 mistake left. Doctor, what is number 7?
Mistake number 7 is perhaps the most overlooked aspect of walking. It is ignoring your recovery. Many people assume that because walking is a low-impact exercise, it doesn't require any sort of cool-down or recovery protocol. They finish their walk inside, sit down in a recliner, and don't move for hours.
And what happens to the body when we do that?
When you walk, your leg muscles, specifically your calves and your hamstrings, are repeatedly contracting. Over the course of a 30-minute walk, those muscles become tight and shortened. If you immediately go sit down, those muscles cool off and lock into that shortened, tight position.
Which leads to stiffness the next morning.
Exactly. It leads to tight calves, which pull on the Achilles tendon, which can trigger plantar fasciitis and knee pain. Recovery is essential. No matter how easy the walk felt, you must signal to the muscles that the work is done and they can return to their normal length.
What does a proper walking recovery look like?
It is simple. Drink a large glass of water immediately to flush out metabolic waste. Then take 2 minutes to gently stretch your calves and hamstrings against a wall to reset the muscle length.
And what about rest days?
They are vital. Recovery is when the body actually gets stronger. If your legs feel heavy, you have to listen to them and take a day off.
Doctor, this changes everything. We aren't just stopping pain by fixing these 7 mistakes. We are actively rebuilding our joints with every single step. To everyone still listening, thank you for taking your time. Try to pick just one of these mistakes to fix on your walk tomorrow. And if you learned something today, leave a like and click the subscribe button.
And make sure to watch this next episode.
Oh, this is a good one. People should see
People should
this.
definitely watch. See you there.